Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another one in my authenticity series, and I wanted to share you all the direction that I'm now deciding to take this channel in. So like I mentioned in my last video, if you haven't seen it yet, I was initially planning for this channel just to be all about holistic health, which is my passion, so taking care of like our physical bodies, like juicing and raw food and fasting and things like that. But I've recently actually been wanting to focus on more of a complete picture of health, so also including like our emotional and mental well-being as well. And so I think the direction I want to take this channel is I'm now going to be posting videos about authenticity, like my journey to being my 100% authentic self and what it means to be authentic, and just, really getting a handle on some of the mental and emotional battles I've been dealing with. Those videos are going to be on Mondays, and then on Thursdays, those videos are going to be about my passion of juicing and nutrition and raw food and things like that. So yeah, I hope you guys are excited for it. If you're interested, please make sure you subscribe to this channel so that you won't miss those videos. And like I mentioned, this video that I'm putting out today is actually going to be the first one in a series that I'm doing. Like, I'm calling it the Authenticity Series, and I'll probably just add like a little menu on the next page showing you like what the series is going to be all about. But this is the first video in that series. So again, make sure you subscribe if you want to catch all the episodes in the series. And yeah, let's get into it. So the first video in the series is all about knowing yourself, discovering yourself, and figuring out who you are. And the reason that it's so critical to know yourself on any authenticity journey is pretty obvious. I mean, if you don't know yourself, then there's no way that you can be yourself. And so many of us have really never taken the time to do this. Like, we've never taken the time to really sit down and ask ourselves if what we're doing with our lives and if what we're showing to the world actually aligns with how we feel on the inside and what our actual morals and values and ideals for what our best life would look like are. So I think this is pretty common for people to lose themselves when it comes to things like societal pressure and wanting to fit in. Instead of asking themselves what they would want, they kind of just look around at what everyone else is doing, and it's pretty easy to just blend in, and then you look around one day and realize that you don't know yourself at all. And a lot of times too, what I've noticed about myself is I was often guessing like what I thought people wanted from me. So instead of like asking myself what I really wanted or who I really am, I was just trying to fit into the mold of what I thought people wanted, to see from me. And so if you can really sit down and take some time to get to know yourself, not only is it going to be really exciting as you get to discover all the parts about yourself that you love and that were there all along, but you just never knew it, but it's really going to be the first step towards truly taking steps towards a life that's authentic to you and a life that you love. And I also just quickly wanted to mention that if you're needing support on this journey, because it can be a challenging journey for a lot of people to start entering a journey of self-discovery, especially if they've never done it before. And a lot of us need support. I mean, we all need support for anything challenging that we're going through in life. And so I just wanted to mention to you guys that I did create a free Facebook group. I'm calling it Raw and Real. And the raw part of the title is going to relate to, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, my passion of raw food and holistic wellness. And then the real part is going to relate to authenticity. Like, it's going to be a place where people can come and learn and discover their authentic selves and also have the courage to be their authentic selves. So if that sounds interesting to you, please consider joining, and I'll drop the link for that in the description below. So now that we've talked about why it's so important to get to know yourself, and I've offered you a resource to get support along the journey, let's talk about some of the biggest steps that I've taken to get to know myself along my journey. So one of the first steps that I took was to spend some time, honestly, just daydreaming about what a perfect life would seem like to me. And I think this is like one of the most fun parts of the entire process. And so what I did is I basically just sat down, and you can either write it out if you want to, or you can just spend some time like visualizing it in your head and trying to make like a really clear picture of it in your mind. But you honestly just want to spend some time dreaming about like what a perfect day in the life would look like for you. And you might honestly even want to project this out to like a perfect week or a perfect month as well. Obviously, just because, not every day is going to be the same. And sometimes, you do crave variety throughout the week and throughout the month and stuff like that. But either way, just sit down and get super duper specific about what a perfect life would look like for you. So like from the time that you wake up in the morning to the time that you're going to bed at night, what are you doing that morning? Who are you talking to? What are your activities throughout the day? Who are you spending time with? All those different things. And so a tool that I love to use for this is called the Life Areas Wheel. And I'll put like a picture of it up here on the screen. But it basically just, breaks down all 8 major different areas of our lives, and I reference it a lot, like when I do a reflection and stuff like that, to make sure I'm like checking in with each area pretty thoroughly. But like I mentioned, I'll put it on the screen here. And yeah, I recommend looking at each area and asking yourself what would be the perfect scenario in each of those areas. So then once you have a picture of what your ideal life could look like, you can really take a step back from the whole big picture of like everything that you just visualized and everything that you just imagined. And you can say, okay, what are the common themes that I'm seeing here? Like, what are the common values, ideals, like the ways that I would like to be spending my time? What are like the overall common themes of what I'm seeing in the perfect life for myself? So for me, when I did this exercise, for example, one of the biggest things that I noticed about myself is I really highly value connection, which is kind of interesting. Like I said in my last video, if you watched it, I mentioned that I really struggled with social anxiety at one point in time. And so I think for a long time, I didn't realize that I actually really am truly a very social person. And I love to spend time with people and I love to connect with people. But I was just feeling, caught up and held back by the social anxiety. But once I did imagine like my dream life and who I would be spending my days with, I noticed they were filled with lots of opportunities to connect with people and spend time with people and share experiences with people. So I now know that about myself. The connection is a really big value for me. So the second step that I took was to try to spend lots of time learning about new things. And like not also just learning about new things, but also trying new things, like doing new experiences. And so I love to watch documentaries. I'm a big documentary nerd because I just, find it really interesting to learn about things that I've never heard about before or dive a little bit deeper into topics that I'm already interested in, but I want to get more details on them. So documentaries are a great way to do this, or you can read like non-fictional books, ask other people about their experience with certain things. And then of course, just try new experiences, like try things you've never done before. And this was a big thing that I've discovered so far on my authenticity journey is there are actually a lot of things I am passionate about, but I didn't know I was passionate about them because I didn't even know they existed. So, obviously like juicing is a really big one for me. And I'm also discovering, for example, like parenting, like how passionate I am about learning about conscious parenting and sharing information with others in regards to parenting, and also just like good communication and things like that. And so that's the beauty of exposing yourself to new information is you can discover new things that light you up that you had no idea even existed before. And it can also, of course, create opportunities to connect with other people in the future who already know about these things, and you can share that and have a common interest with them. The third thing that's been helpful for me on my authenticity journey is to actually ask family and friends, like my closest family and friends, what they think some of my core values are, or like, just what they know to be true about me or what they think to be true about me, and kind of get their opinions on who I am and what lights me up and just what they noticed about me. Because I've noticed that sometimes your closest family and friends will actually even notice things about your personality that you yourself don't even notice. And I think sometimes like we can just be so stuck in certain habits and like certain patterns of being that we don't even notice that we're doing it. So it's great to connect with, like I said, close family and friends who spend a lot of time with you and notice those little things about your personality, and they can bring them to the surface for you. Now, one caveat to this, I will say, try not to take it personally if your friends and family do have like any constructive feedback for you. Like if they do take this opportunity to point out things that they think you could work on. This is definitely something I had to get over. And I think it's normal to a certain extent for all of us. Like we tend to let our egos get in the way just a little bit. But like I said, there are definitely certain patterns of, being that we can adopt and certain habits that we can have. And we won't even notice them because, it's just so natural to us. But it may not necessarily be something that we even want to keep the same about ourselves. Once our friends and family pointed out to us, it may be something that we actually want to change about ourselves. So what I did was I just took all the pieces of feedback that I received from my family and friends, and I decided which parts really resonated with me, and those were the parts that I wanted to nurture more and develop more in myself, like my strengths and things I really liked about myself. And then I was able to take the constructive feedback and take a step and look at it and try to discover where those habit patterns were coming from and where that way of being originated, what internal thoughts I was having or what internal story I had about it, and then start making steps to work on it if it was something I didn't want to be true about myself. And then the fourth and final step that I took, and I will definitely say this is the most challenging one for me, and I'm still working on it to this day, but I feel like it's gotten a lot better, is to just love myself unconditionally and accept myself like where I am right now, no matter what picture I have of myself, no matter what things I want to work on. I realize that I have to accept and love myself now for where I am. And one of the biggest reasons this was important for me is because I can't remember which one of my favorite authors, I think it was Bob Proctor maybe, but one time he said something really profound, which is you can't possibly know where you're going unless you know where you're starting. And so he used the analogy of if you wanted to get to Tennessee, for example, you couldn't possibly just call up a flight company and tell them that you want a ticket to Tennessee without telling them where you're starting from. And so if you can just know where you're starting from and accept where you are on your journey right now, that's going to make it much easier for you to figure out where you're going. And it's really important to know that all of your desires and interests are amazing and great. And, try not to judge yourself or feel concerned about being embarrassed or being rejected if people were to know that you liked certain things or you disliked certain things. I think a lot of times, we just tend to judge ourselves and compare ourselves to other people. And we say, oh, people would think this is weird, so I'm just going to kind of keep it to myself. Or, oh, people are going to be so mad at me if I don't agree with them on this specific issue or topic, so I'm just going to keep that to myself. Know that whatever you discover about yourself is valid. There are so many different ways of being, and we're all so special and unique, and that's what makes us us. All the little quirks and things that we like and things that we dislike and funny habits that we have are what make us who we are. And so an analogy I like to use for this that I think about all the time is life is almost like just a giant puzzle. I think at this point there are 8 billion humans on this planet. And with any puzzle, regardless of how many pieces it has, whether it's a 300 piece or 1,000 piece or a billion piece puzzle, there's only one spot that each and every single piece in that puzzle fits into in the entire puzzle itself. And so that's how you have to think of yourself, like just the way that you are right now. You're the only person that can fit into your puzzle piece. And so comparing yourself to other people and wishing that you could be another piece of the puzzle, like maybe you wish you were a corner piece instead of being a middle piece or something like that. That way, if that were the case, the puzzle would never be finished. If everybody couldn't just be who they were and fit into their spot on the puzzle, then we could never have the beautiful world that we live in now. And honestly too, it can actually feel good to get like a little bit giddy and excited over the parts about yourself that you do like. Kind of like when you have like a romantic connection with somebody, or you're really drawn to someone in that way, and there are certain little things about their personality that you just absolutely love and you get super giddy and excited about. Try to see if you can get excited about yourself in that way, and it feels really, really good when you do this. So that wraps it up for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up and share it with your friends. That's really helpful for other people to find this video. If you know someone who may be struggling with their authenticity journey, or you just know someone who would need to hear this video, it helps a lot if you guys give likes to it and share it with other people, because then the algorithm will push it for me and other people will be able to find it as well. And also please be sure to follow me on Instagram, and I'll drop my handle down here for you to follow me there, and I'll also put my handle in the description of this video. Not only would I love to connect with you guys and see you on social media, but you can also DM me if you have any questions or requests for future videos and things like that. And like I mentioned, please also don't forget to check out my free Facebook group, Raw and Real. I'm gonna put the link for that in the description as well. If you guys need support on your journey, I would love to see you in there, connect with you in there as well. Besides that, stay tuned and I'll see you in the next one.